Nearly 5 years in the making, the time has come for the catalyst to bring agencies into the digital 21st century. Agencies have about 100 actions to transform, evolve, and standardize the citizens' online experience under new guidance from the Office of Management and Budget. Claire Martirana, the Federal Chief Information Officer, tells Executive Editor Jason Miller about how the Delivering a Digital-First Public Experience guidance aims to meet the spirit and intent of the 2018 21st Century IDEA Act.
We are trying to think big. Since the beginning of this administration, we have been focused on making sure that we are putting our customers first and delivering for all Americans across all abilities and really trying to drive digital as the default for how we operate the government. This is a 10-year transformation framework, and it has more than 100 actions and standards to help federal agencies design, develop, and deliver modern websites and digital services that are trustworthy, accessible, easy to use, and it's really an exciting moment for us. So there are some key components that this guidance will allow the American people to do. They should know when they're interacting with an official government website. Today, it's hard. You get search results, and there's hundreds, millions of search results for one question that you ask. And this will actually help all Americans with clarity around if they're interacting with a government website. We will also focus on getting the best answers to top questions in language that people can understand. They will be able to access government online services no matter what their ability level is. So we will be continuing to focus on Section 508 and all of the accessibility guidelines that the team has focused on for many years, but this is really going to be catalytic in improving. And then use government websites. The public should be able to use these websites on their mobile device. We need to meet them where they currently are in a way that works for them. A key part of this is multi-channel. Many people will be able to access these products and services through digital technology, computers, phones, etc. But there are still some people that are going to want and need to talk to somebody on the phone, stop in an office, and we will make sure that this is intersectional with those multi-channel experiences. So we are really helping have access to all of this.
Thanks, Claire. Appreciate that explanation. Let's take a half a step back. The guidance has been in the works for several years now. Tell us a little bit about the goals of the guidance.
We have some immediate agency and government-wide actions, top things that agencies will need to do in the first 180 days of this policy guidance. I say to my team all the time, you can't manage what you can't measure. So one of the top things that we'll be doing is identifying and assessing top public-facing websites and digital services, and for prioritization. We will be assessing common questions and top web content to make sure we eliminate duplication and that we are optimizing government content for SEO. And we will also be inventorying public-facing services and assess top tasks so that we can figure out if they can be digitized into self-service options for the public.
Whenever you create a guidance like this, there's a lot that goes into it. How'd you work with agencies, the CIO Council? How'd you go through the critical steps to get this out the door?
We have coined the term, I think, human-centered policymaking, right? We have been working really closely with our agency partners, making sure we understand that each agency, they're on their own unique journey based on their technology stack, the types of benefits and services that they deliver. So we have been working with the multitude of agencies. And as we have some agencies that are very forward-leaning technically, they have really competent teams, and they've been on this journey for several years, many, many years. We have other agencies that are just beginning, and we are making sure that we are doing user testing, that we are gathering data that they have been working on for many years, satisfaction scores, et cetera, to really assess where we can help them start on the journey or optimize the journey that they are currently on.
Claire, I was reviewing the guidance, and there's several different sections to it. There's a lot of pieces and parts to this memo. Let's start with the focus on analytics. What should agencies know about it? What do they have to do?
Analytics are really critical for us, making sure that we can understand how users are utilizing these different digital properties, where we have abandon rates, where we have opportunities to really deliver a better, more seamless experience for customers. Accessibility is a very large focus for us, making sure, as I said, that Section 508 accessibility standards are followed. Brand is something that is really challenging because it is very difficult if you're going on a multi-agency journey where you might have to complete tasks in 2, 3, 4, 5 different agencies. It is very difficult starting at a search engine to make sure you're landing on accurate, credible, timely government content. Also very difficult when you're moving from one website to another. There's not consistent visual design. So it's really hard to understand if you're going from one trusted government website to another trusted, verified government website. So that is something that is also part of this policy framework. Content, the public shouldn't have to decipher multiple, duplicate, conflicting sources of content. That's our job, and we should be writing all of our content in plain language. As I mentioned, kind of intersects with brand is design. Every agency is required to use the U.S. web design system. That's not optional. That is mandatory. We need to deliver a consistent look and feel to the public, and this guidance helps us with that. As I mentioned, search, we will both be optimizing for external from SEO into government, but also really important that we have consistency in our navigation on websites and that we have good quality search functionality within an agency vertical so that you're able to search within the agency website and make sure that you get that answer quickly and importantly. And I know that you have heard me say this before, but only 2% of our forms are fully digital, and that is not acceptable. So we are also going to be focusing on this policy framework actually will help us move towards building out a pathway and frameworks both on the acquisition and contracting side that will help us build the best quality digital experiences, including forms, so that they are completely end-to-end, computer readable, and easy for the public to use.
You mentioned the 10-year transformation framework, more than 100 actions. How are you breaking down those actions? How are you ensuring that this is not something agencies are going to get overwhelmed by?
A couple different ways. So it's not only 100 actions, it's also standards. One of the ways that we can really drive impact in government is by having standards. And that really lifts the boats across the board. Another way that we are really harnessing the power of this policy is marrying it with some of the work we've already been doing with the TMF. We have funding allocated for some of this work and making sure that we are developing the standards, playbooks, and best practices that will actually bring everybody along on the journey.
Claire Martirana is the Federal Chief Information Officer, and she was speaking with Federal News Network's Jason Miller. You can find this interview along with more of Jason's reporting at federalnewsnetwork.com.